everyone, and welcome back to this short video talking today about incorporating these new Canvas student suites in your online class or even your face-to-face class as part of Canvas. So this is a new resource I just got done creating here for the winter quarter of 2022. If you're watching this video in a later quarter, you're likely seeing the same set of resources but updated just a little bit, because these are the types of things that we want to update over time as new programs come on board at the college, as new resources, positions, or even programs are created. We want to make sure that the most current information is given to our students. So the idea behind the Canvas Student Suites is that you have module resources that basically is a collection of pages, images, documents like our plagiarism policy that are easy to find, import, and modify in your Canvas class. There are two main resources right now. In the future, related to a grant I'm working on with the Director of Distance Education, we will also have a student technology resource. So you're going to see, as we go through the process here, two main modules. One module is focused on class policies. So this would be everything from your technology policy, modifications to the syllabus, issues about deadlines and whether or not you allow makeups, of course, our plagiarism and academic dishonesty policy, and so forth. So these are really useful policies, and in the case of this suite, I really recommend that you go in and modify the pages. The second one, you really don't have to do that because these are the official resources that are shared on the ltcc.edu website with some exceptions. In a lot of cases, though, for example, if you want to share with your students the LTCC alerts, or you want to talk about snow day policies or whatever, a lot of that information is taken directly from our website at the college, and as a result, I'm taking verbatim language or in some cases modifying it a little bit, but I really want to preserve the official discourse, if you will, that's coming out of the college about all these various resources available to students. If students want to find housing, if we have students who need access to the food pantry, very easy to locate this now. All you have to do is import these two modules into your Canvas class. You can then go in and make some modifications, adjust it however you like, but this makes it so much easier for you as opposed to having to go in and write your very specific Canvas page about the plagiarism policy, or having to go in and write about Timely Care, the new mental health and student health app that is really useful for our students. All of it will be available for you here. So the one set of pages will have 18 pages for you. The other one is 15. Again, over time, I see this growing. We might modify things, add things. And by all means, if you're interested, reach out. And if you have suggestions for changing the content, if you have suggestions for new pages, let me know and we could really have a conversation about this, because it certainly should be a collaborative effort. We're going to go through this 3 steps. It's very easy to bring this into your class. Step 1 is finding the resource. Step 2 is importing it. Step 3 is modifying it, which could include deleting, changing, or editing the pages that I've shared with you. So 2 ways to find this. One, in my email to you, I'm giving you 2 resource links. And so if you take either of those resource links, this is for step 1, you would simply go in, click that, and the resource will pop up. So very easy to find. And then what you can do is hit copy resource link, but it's really better for you to import that directly into your class. And we'll look at that in a second. So one way to find this again is to locate my email and to cut and paste that link for each of the 2 module resources. Once you do that, it'll take you to the direct page in Canvas. Even easier method of doing this is going to your Canvas class, and on the bottom left corner here, near the bottom, and mine third from the bottom, on yours it might differ, you're just going to click on Canvas Comments. And the nice thing about all the tags with all the resources I share for you is I always include LTCC, and I typically for these try to include these as featured or approved content from the institution. So if it doesn't pop up here for you, you could type in LTCC. Once you do that, you'll see all the various LTCC references or resources pop up. The 2 we're interested in would be Student Suite, LTCC Student Resources, and Student Suite, LTCC Class Policies. What these look like is when you click on them, you're going to see information in the preview about what is available. So you're going to have one module for each suite. You'll have a series of pages, as you can see here, and any of these you can click on to do a preview of. This will show you exactly what you're going to see. And because these often include banner images or PDFs of some of our policies, you should also see a slew of files here on the left. These are typically going to be, again, these first two are the PDFs of the policies, and the others will be the banners. And that way, when you copy this into your class, you're going to get all those nice banners. And I really wanted to have something uniform and to try to have something nice, so I created some customized banners for you here at the top. It gives it a little more pop and professionalism. I also included a line here, and that will go with the consistency of replicating the line that you see at the bottom of all your pages inside of Canvas if you take a look. So this is what the resource looks like. So that is step one. Step one is either to click on the email links that I sent to you or to go to the search and type in LTCC, and then you'll find the resources that you can import. So again, we're looking at these two resources: Student Suites, Student Resources, Student Suites, Class Policies. So let's go to step two now. Step two is going to be importing this into your class. It is super easy to do. I kid you not. It'll take you a matter of seconds to do this. So don't get frustrated. Jump right into it. If you have any questions, reach out to me or Michael Miguel, Director of DE Education. Be happy to help you out. So let's try this one first. This is the LTCC Class Policies. And what I'm going to do is click import or download. And I wouldn't mess with downloading. If you want, you can add this to your favorites, and that way it'll be an easy reference if you want to share with any of your adjunct instructors, say. If you want to share, you can also click copy resource link. Once you do that, it'll copy that link, and that's the exact same link that I shared with you in my email about this, or a series of emails about this. So what we're going to do is let's click on import or download into our class. And then our next point is figuring out exactly where we want to import this. And so if you have a lot of classes, you have to figure that out. Typically, it should have the quarter that you're teaching. So find your class, and I'm just going to choose one here for the sake of an experiment, Anthro 107 Sandbox. I click Import into Class. Okay, you've successfully started the import. It might take a while to see changes in your class. These aren't super big. As you can see, this is about 6.4 megabytes. We're going to try the other one as well. That's a little bit bigger, I think just under 9 or maybe 10 megabytes. So let's go back. We just imported the class policies. We'll try the other one, and then we'll go back and look at everything. It's giving a little bit of time for Canvas to process the request here to import that. So I'm going to then do the same process here, import or download, and let's pick that Anthro 107 Sandbox and click Import into Class. Same thing, the message says you've successfully started to import. It might take a little while to see changes in your course. So now we're going to move on to step 3. And step 3, as I mentioned, is going to be all the modification and taking the content that I've created for you and making it work for your class, whatever you happen to teach. So we're going to look at deleting if you don't want some of the pages or resources, changing, which will involve maybe moving or placing your pages inside the module in an order that you see fit, and then editing, which is very important for the set of not the student resources per se, but more so for these class resources, or class policies rather, because those are the ones that are very specific to your class, and you might have a different way that you want to talk about the content warning in your class, or you might not even need that, so hence you could click that to hide it, as we'll look at in a second, or you could even delete it from your class. So let's go back to our class and see if these have indeed imported for us. You're going to find these, since these are modules, in your module structure, so you'll want to then immediately click on Modules in your menu here. Keep in mind when you do imports like this or any copying from another class of entire modules or even pages, Canvas has a way of organizing these. So in this case, you're going to find them all the way at the bottom of your current modules. So you're seeing here there are two sets of modules, the LTCC class policies and then the LTCC student resources. And these are all live. So that's how I've published them, and so they're now currently available in my class. If I wanted to start looking at these, I could click on any of these as I did in our preview on Canvas Commons, and I'll see all the information here. Again, you're seeing that I matched here with the bar here, the header, I matched with the footer. If you ever see, by the way, a link that's incorrect, I checked all these, let me know. Links go dead, and if anything changes, I will go ahead and modify the resources. My current plan for any of these modules that are institution featured is to really modify these every quarter, and if a change is made, I will let you know about that, and that will be updated in Canvas Commons. So if I want to look at the other modules in the set, I just hit the next button or the previous button, and I will see all the information here. So you kind of get a sense of what is included. So the first thing I might recommend is go to these two modules and see what exactly is there. Again, you might have some stuff that you say, I don't need that in my class. That's super easy to deal with. If you didn't want to include the food pantry, which I hope you all do include the food pantry because it's super important, but hypothetically, I would hit unpublish. Keep in mind, since that's now unpublished and grayed out and not green, students will not see in my class. So you don't necessarily have to go in and delete the pages you don't want. You could just unpublish them and leave them there in case you need them. If I want that back, I would hit publish. If I want to delete it, I would go here and hit remove. And once I remove it, it's gone. Of course, I can always re-import something from Canvas Commons. If you do that, by the way, if I re-imported this into Canvas Commons, this exact module, and let's say I change some of the pages in here, Canvas will overwrite those. So it's important to note that, because if you re-import something, it will erase the previous version of that. And I think there's a warning in Canvas Commons and some of the imports when you do that. So again, the student resources, you probably don't have to modify so much. If you want to change the order of things, I tried to put them in an order that maybe made sense. But for example, if you didn't want the DRC here and you want it at the top, you would just drag it to the top. I tried to include like-minded resources next to each other, for example, homeless student resources and LTCC student housing. So again, in the third step, what we're trying to do is modify and make things work for our class. So if you don't have any changes to make, say, on student resources, that's great. You can leave it as it is. Now, I think for the class policies, you will want to go in and customize this. If you're not teaching a face-to-face class, you're only teaching DE or EVE, if you don't want the mask guidelines policy on here, you can remove that, or again, you could simply go back. The easiest thing to do, even easier, less clicks, is simply clicking on publish. 1 click versus 2 clicks here. But it's up to you. I mean, I think personally it's great to publicize the mask guidelines just so students know when they come into the college. They might only be taking a DE class with you, but they might be taking a series of face-to-face classes, and thus I think it's great to educate students about the importance of safety in this time of COVID and making sure that we really nip this virus in the bud in terms of dealing with it with masking, social distancing, encouraging all of our students, all of us, to get booster shots, to get vaccinated. It's the only way that we're going to possibly defeat COVID is through spreading information from scientific medical communities that is expert information that is a benefit to all of us. So I think it's very important to include our mask guidelines. Now, anything that you want to modify, let's say class deadlines, and some of these you're not going to get a lot of text because in this case, I don't know what your class deadlines are. So for this, you'll either want to modify it or you could remove it from your class or again unpublish it. So all I have to do is hit the edit button at the top right, and then I'm just going to simply go in, and I could even cut and paste from my syllabus. Just grab my syllabus and cut and paste whatever information is in my syllabus about deadlines, hit save on that, and it's immediately available. It's already published. It's already ready to go. So my real recommendation is for one of these sets, which is our class policies module, I really think you'll want to go in and look at each of these. Easy to do by clicking on the first one, doing any edits that you need, hitting the next button, go on to the next one, and so forth. Or, of course, you can go back to the modules page, do any editing from there, and the modules page is really the best place to go if you want to move things around. So if you really want preferred pronouns at the top above mask guidelines, you could put preferred pronouns up there. And then, as I said, anything I want to modify or edit on this, I could simply go through it and make those adjustments. It's super easy to do. So I really recommend for the class policies module to go in and customize a lot of the technology policies, content warning, DRC accommodations, modifications, syllabus, office hours, etc. could be very much custom to your class. So I tried to put in the most general statements I could could, such as class success tips as an example. But if some of these don't exactly relate to how you approach class success, go in and make the edits. This is all open source, openly available, crowdsourced materials. And so I really want us and encourage us to work together on these resources to make sure that we have something that will work for students in our classes, whatever discipline we happen to be teaching. So definitely take advantage here of these possibilities from Canvas Commons. Our student suites that include the student resources and class policies as pictured here. Again, very easy step. Find the resource, import it into your class, and then modify it by deleting, changing the order of the pages within those two modules, and editing some of the module pages, particularly within the LTCC class policies, to make sure that it fits for your class. So thanks for listening. I'll be back with more resources. If you have any feedback or ideas for future versions of the Canvas student suites here at Lake Tahoe Community College Teaching and Learning, let me know. I'll be happy to collaborate with you, include this in our class. And please, if you're a department chair or dean, help me communicate this to our campus, to all our part-time instructors and other people out there who use Canvas shells, because I think these are going to be really great resources to share with your students in terms of our student resources and class policies here at Lake Tahoe Community College. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you soon.